I've kept my presentation a little different from the flow that has been here. I'd like to talk about the life cycle of a startup and throw in excerpts of what GetMyParking has done. And if you need information about GetMyParking, you can always go to our website. I mean, no point giving you that information here. Right, so the company started in 2015, right? So when a startup starts up, what is the first thing you look for? You look for what is the problem that you're going to solve. You're all excited, you're pumped up, you're full of adrenaline, and you go to your customer and be like, I'm going to solve this for you. But does your customer actually need that problem to be solved? And the biggest question, will he pay for it, is always a question that, it's $1 million question. So if you go to that picture, will your client go for you or go for the big players? Now, parking as an industry, unlike fintech and like e-commerce, has been around since more than 100 years. The biggest OEMs in this industry have been present since 1960s. So when you enter to disrupt an industry which is being held by companies that have been in business for 50 years, you face very stiff competition. Nobody wants their house to be burgled by a startup. And that is technically the term used for disrupting startups who come and take a share out of the pie, right? So this is what happened to us. 2015, GetMyParking started up. And just a show of hands, has any one of you ever used a parking app to find a parking lot near you, a parking space near you? Yes. So a few of you have, right? Now, when you use that app, you basically find directions to a parking lot. You would go there, you would park there, you can see tariff, you can see how much you're going to pay. Probably that app also allows you to enter the parking lot. Maybe you'll show the QR code to someone, or you'll make a Bluetooth signal. Bunch of things can happen. In India, that business model does not work. If you open the parking industry statistics and look at the consumer-centric apps that came into the market, not one of them is doing good. Not one. And the funding or the investment that was coming into this industry in the consumer side of the business is drying up. Why? I'll give you an example. Mahakumbh 2016. People who are familiar with Kumbh and Mahakumbh, it's one of the biggest gathering of people that can happen on this earth and happens right here in India, wherein about more than 15 million people at times, and generally even in a normal Kumbh, about 10 million people gather for a religious, you can say celebration or a ritual over a period of time. Now, GetMyParking got the contract from Mahakumbh in 2016 that was to be held in Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. Now you can imagine that when we got the contract, we were pretty excited. We're going to have more than 10 million people come in. That's going to mean at least 1 million cars. Oh, we got the parking lot contract and everything. And when the people arrived to park their cars, they realized they had to pay. Not something you would expect, at least not in the Indian context, right? Because the awareness of the market is not there. Your end clientele is not ready. So a chaos started, and the authorities who had awarded us the contract had to open the streets of Ujjain for on-street parking. Now what does it mean for a startup? We lost business. We lost business left, right, and center. So what do we do now? Now in the journey of the startups, we had the first client, we got the first project, but somehow we didn't make money. We got a lot of PR. Yes, we got a lot of PR, but we didn't make money. Now what do we do? So, going on to the journey. This is an ideal cycle that, every product manager, every startup founder would paste on his wall and look at it day and night and say, this is what I'm going to follow. But startups don't work this way, do they? They would like to work this way, yes. I would like to work this way, but even I don't. So, then the biggest question comes in the next stage is when you start looking for the next client. Who are you? Are you a business-driven company or are you a product-driven company? I mean, generally, if you're not going to the services, that is. You would like your products to mature in a certain manner and come up to the industry levels. But when your business guy goes out and makes a pitch and he finds a client who would be willing to pay you the bucks, but you have to make certain changes to your product. And he comes and tells you, see, your approach is good, but it doesn't solve the top line for the next 6 months. I can get you that top line, but you need to make changes to the product. So where do you lie? And that's where GetMyParking also faced that problem. We did focus on the consumer business for a while. We realized it doesn't make sense. We won't get anywhere with it because the consumer itself is not feeling the need to move to that domain. So we decided, okay, let's invert the table and let's see what else we can do. In parking, there's something that you call parking contractor business, and that's where we came. And we started working with the parking contractors in Delhi. We today process about 60,000 parking transactions in Delhi with the municipal authorities, and we cover almost 60% of Delhi market, which is a good number if you look at it. So something like this is a standard parking transaction that happens today when you go up to a parking lot. You park your car and the operator gives you a receipt. So this is what we do already. The Hyderabad Metro Rail project, GetMyParking has the entire metro parking contract there. So we started capturing that market. In 2017, we moved to Europe. Apcoa Parking, if John, you would know, we power the entire digital platform. We have been launching the entire digital platform for Apcoa. Apcoa is the biggest parking operator in Europe, operational across 13 countries, 9,000 parking spaces. So let me show you a video of how a product that's supposed to do that, a receipt, can actually do something like this. Can we have the audio, please? While I know my time is up, if I can take 10 seconds to just put a closing comment. Thank you so much. What you saw here was an automated parking experience. And as the industry is now moving towards smart cars, self-driving cars, we are more worried about self-parking cars. You can introduce all the fancy tech in the cars you want. They will have to park someday and somewhere. And that's where we see urban mobility coming in, because there has to be a limit on how many number of vehicles can be on the street, right? So some of them have to be in the garage someday. Thank you.